So live production now becomes really pocketable with Mavis Studio on iPad Pro.
You're watching CineD, supported by B&H and CVP.
Welcome here from NEB 2026. I'm here at the Mavis booth with Patrick. How are you doing?
I am really good. How are you?
I'm doing very well indeed. I mean, some people might know Mavis from the iOS app, right? But maybe you can just give us a bit of an overview of who Mavis is and what you guys do in overall.
Yeah, so we are a company that builds software for production. We specifically specialise in apps. So we build Mavis Camera, Mavis Monitor, and we're launching at NAB this year Mavis Studio, which is a live production app for the iPad.
Live production for the iPad. So give us a bit of a background. How did you decide to do this? Why? And why is it only possible now?
So we built Mavis Camera, and Mavis Camera is allows for a number of different workflows, whether you're doing film or camera to cloud. But we wanted to integrate that into something bigger, and we thought live was a perfect place to slot that in. We're really interested in live, and we think that live is a perfect sort of use case for these kinds of portable devices.
Yeah, so what can you do with the Studio app? It looks quite powerful.
Yes, it's very powerful. It's very powerful, but it's simple to use and operate. So it's an iPad app at its core, so it's all touch based. We have inputs that we can bring in, so we can bring in NDI inputs, or we integrate into Mavis Camera, and so we can cut sources, and we can mix sources. We have a number of internal inputs, so we can do things like image players, media players to run video, and we can also do web renders. So we can do things like key on lower thirds using our web render graphics.
Very cool. Just, run me through some of the more features that you have.
Yeah, so we've got a full switcher built into this, so we can do mixes, we've got multiple banks of multi-view, so I talked about all the different feeds. But that's, of course, only half the story. We also need audio, so we've got a 16-channel audio desk built into this. Each one of the inputs, the camera inputs, lands 2 channels of audio onto our audio desk, and you can then do a mix of that audio. You can group channels together and then actually operate those channels from the home screen here. So you can quickly turn on and off audio channels to create a nice mix.
How many image sources can you have?
So we've got 4 image sources, and each image source you can select an unlimited number of images from. But you can, this is a configurable multi-view, so if you wanted, if for your kind of show, you could just have 4 image sources run on your multi-view. The whole thing is configurable, and yeah.
In your opinion, what's the advantage of doing this on an iPad as opposed to a laptop, let's say?
The touchscreen interface really lends itself to this kind of production. It's incredibly fast. We've built a system here which is really low latency. It feels really intuitive to use, and it feels very natural to be able to sort of touch the pictures that you want to go live. And when we give it to users, they can pick it up really, really quickly.
So who are the typical kind of users who would use it?
Yeah, so out the gate we're aiming this at things like podcasts, small live events, houses of worship, the kind of productions where you have a limited crew, but you still want high quality. Or you want the flexibility that having portable sort of mobile devices provides. So there is a wide use case for it, but yeah, out the gate, podcasts, live events, these kind of things.
And in terms of, this runs on an iPad Pro. What kind of iPad do I need to use this?
So it's optimized for M series iPads. So this is the iPad Pro 13-inch. That gives you the biggest interface. It will scale down, so you can use it on the 11-inch. But yeah, it will run on a whole array of iPads for you to use different sources. The fastest iPad will provide you the greatest capabilities.
And pricing, availability?
Yeah, so it's free to download off the App Store. If you just search for Mavis Studio on the App Store, you can download it. It ships with a watermark. It's $80 a year to remove that watermark, or $130 to remove the watermark and activate NDI. And our NDI license provides for 4 NDI inputs or one NDI output.
Cool. And if some people want to use it just on one project, let's say, there's also a monthly way?
Yep, there is a monthly. There's a different pricing. Obviously, it's cheaper for if you just buy it per month, but there is monthly pricing available as well.
Okay, great. Well, sounds like an amazing app. I just find it remarkable what's now possible with iPads. I mean, I think it probably comes down to the processing power, right? Because a couple of years ago, I think Apple hasn't, in the beginning, it wasn't really positioned as a productivity device. And even with the first iteration of the iPad Pro, I think, at that time, iPad OS was quite limiting because I think we only got the Files app at some point. And since then, I see more and more apps that are really, really targeted at creatives and productivity. How do you say that?
Yeah, completely. I think Apple has provided an incredibly powerful device, and I think we're seeing now more apps that can take advantage of that processing power. So, in terms of Final Cut to be able to do editing, we see this as the live version of that. So I can now start to do live production on the iPad, and yeah, the abilities of these devices are really, really capable. They're going to get better. The fact that we can integrate into other devices using Mavis Camera, for example, that runs on iPhone, really creates a tight ecosystem for you to be able to do really high quality production using the devices that you already own. You can just download a piece of software from Mavis, and you can start to do some really quality production.
Awesome. Well, have a good rest of the show.
Cheers.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thanks very much.
And thanks everybody for watching. Check out Mavis on the App Store, free to try out, and looks amazing for multicam. Maybe we just ditch our entire multicam setup with ATEMs and stuff at the podcast studio, and we switch to this. Looks a bit easier. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned to CineD for a lot more from NEB 2026, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.